Richard?
Thank you, thank you.
All right.
Yes, there are others
One of my
arriving,
great
but they
friends
will
here.
arrive. Don't worry, let them arrive. And we're here to celebrate Richard's birthday, very special birthday. More celebration to come. But in the meantime, Richard's going to entertain us.
7-0, big 7-0.
Yep.
I feel this is like the after party because we had this great ballet performance in Uncasville on the Thames River. It's really great. Wonderful. So, this is an earlier book called The Revenant. Even before Leo DiCaprio.
That sounds familiar.
And there's a Spanish word, I think, like duende or something. It means like something that comes from the earth. It's like a spirit or something. I don't know exactly the words. Apparently it's not translated. But this is this was my friend William, who died in 2007. And this is called Anniversary. And I had a different dog at that time. She was a little Cocker Spaniel, chocolate Cocker Spaniel. Her name was Daisy. Daisy stands at the foot of the stairwell howling. She cannot see, despite the nightlight I left for her. She knows the spiral staircase is full of danger, like someone caught in a burning building, afraid to go down. But her dilemma now lies in ascent. She knows she can fall going up, each day a little more difficult with the fading of the light. So she cries. Big, deep sobs, because she is going blind and stumbles for no reason. Whatever made us believe the foolish notion that animals don't register pain are not saddened by the fading of the light. She's spoiled, I know it, and well, we're to blame. We'd sit on the deck, acorns raining like little asteroids or shooting stars, as puppy Daisy, unafraid, tested the edge of the deck, or stood before the citronella bucket, black eyes shining, curious in the candlelight. She had her way when she was young, like me. So I flood the upper living room with light and invite her up to join me, step by step, oh so carefully she rises, where love and security await her, just like me, step by step, making my way to you, here too now, in the dark. You know, they know when the spirits are there. I don't know, I prepared this little program very quickly, so forgive me, I don't know how rational it is. This one? I am organized. So this one?
You got the tags going.
Oh, this is called Kibitzing with Mom. This was a very hard year, 2013. My mother died, I went bankrupt, I found out I had white matter disease. It was like a challenging year for me. The annus horribilis, as the Queen said about the fact that her castle burned down. She had a bad year. 2013 was a bad year. Bad year. But I mean, this is for Nancy Franklin, who's my friend, who's the treasurer of the William Meredith Foundation. So this is in honor of Nancy. Kibitzing with Mom. She's passed as well, my mother. 2 nights ago, I surprised a coyote on my upper deck eating grapes. I thought at first it was someone else's escaped German Shepherd puppy. If it were a fox, it was the Paul Bunyan of foxes. Then I recognized him immediately, a middle to large coyote growling at me in a rather low voice. I speculated on what my Reiki master might think of this particular synchronicity, in the flesh, as it were. I recalled how the full moon had been of late, and its particular draw on me still, at that moment, some sort of wolf blood coursing through me as I guarded my den and took on the night as my private territory. I walked to the middle of the terrace, lest it spring on me by surprise, pointed to it as if a dagger, and said, "Get the fuck off my deck and stop eating my grapes." It worked. Ah, life in the country. But Mother has given me strict orders not to let Daisy out at night. She'd taste sweet to a coyote. My mother knows about these things, a country girl. I tell her Nancy's Yiddish expression, "Zwill helfen wie a teuten bankes." It'll help like a dead man's leeches. That's right, we used to use leeches. If you got a bee sting, Mother, did you really put leeches on a bee sting when you were a girl? I asked her tonight in the nursing home. I thought that died in the 19th century. Oh, honey, we were 19th century, living in the mountains. We didn't catch up yet. Where did you get the leeches? You know, I don't know, but they were around. How is that Washington girl? I liked her. What girl? That Washington girl with the Jewish jokes. Well, she doesn't need leeches. I'll tell you that much. This is called the Summer of Rainbows. No rain, no rainbows. That was a commercial on TV, you know. Remember there was a wedding or something and they were...
Yeah, I do remember that commercial.
Every day, each more spectacular than the last, a golden dome rising on the horizon, capped in prism, under a black infinity. Good and evil writ large. Rainbow on rainbow, the double arc of dolphins spanning the river, improbable as luck. Band on band, color of clover and rose, gold and cerulean blue, the full spectrum of hope. All summer we stood silent like small birds hiding among the leaves, waiting for the sun, when overhead lightning rips the sky apart. So that happens.
That might happen tonight.
Yeah.
We're due for a big storm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
The rain coming over and then the sun came out.
Yeah.
No way rainbow.
This is a little prose. I do prose and poetry both in this book. And I'm thinking about a woman named Blaga Dimitrova, who was a great Bulgarian poet who was the first vice president of Bulgaria, and she was a friend, and she came lomping through the hotel lobby and parked herself in a rush, you know. And I said, Blaga, what's up? Blaga, slow down, what's up? I've just come from the parliament. We gave a letter to them. We've all registered. We've all resigned. Petr Manolov is almost dead from his hunger strike. They broke in and confiscated everything. This is it. We've had enough. Aren't you afraid to be seen with me here in the lobby? They know where I live. They know what I think. My husband's been under interrogation for 12 hours. Can I see the letter? Can I take it to my ambassador? Beautiful Blaga, first vice president of newly democratic country of Bulgaria, after what is now euphemistically called the change. And the Iron Curtain collapsed into a heap on history. And then she resigned into retirement and poetry when the generals would not take orders from a woman vice president. Noble Zheluzhev, first president, his daughter committing suicide as he struggled to bring his nation out of the shadows. So many stories of courage and accommodation, betrayal and conviction, there at the crossroads of Europe, a country that has more history than it can consume, as Ken used to say. And there it is again. Several minutes to remember the ambassador's name, a man we first met when he turned the residence over to me and William, and he and Yvonne went off sailing in Greece. Friends I've known for years, whose brother Tucker and his wife Robbie became such lovely longtime friends. That day he took me and Nikki and William with 4 dogs and Robbie for a picnic on an island off Miami, plowing through torrential rains on the way home. Dogs and William keeping dry below, and Tucker just able to throw a line to some Haitians about to sink and slingshot them toward the shore. It wasn't calling for rain, Tucker kept assuring us. That's what pushed on. Barely able to see 100 feet in front of us. Well, a nice project ahead if this email works out, if Lubomir survives, if my skills do. Go fill in all the paperwork for Dr. Smith and see if he has any ideas for me as he looks into the crystal ball of my brain, which seems to have clouded over a bit. And if there's nothing to worry about, I'll come home and celebrate with those staples that Julia Child attributes to her longevity, gin and red meat.
Ah, yes.
Let's see. Oh, I know. There's all kind of things in this book, and I really enjoyed writing it. We had an art exhibition on at the, what is the name of that? Art gallery right on Broad Street, or State Street, right beside the...
Hygiene.
No.
No.
It's,
No.
it has a fancy kind of Jungian kind of name.
Oh.
You know, Nadezhda Mijov is the Anyway, we had a large exhibition, and I sat there all summer welcoming people, you know, sitting in the back room in the dark, writing this book. Yeah. So this is just a little country western part of it. I wrote the music to it, and I've almost had enough to sing it.
You should.
But it's for Willie Nelson. I wrote this song for
Okay.
Willie Nelson.
Right.
Like a wind over water, the tide in the sea, your spirit still moves me, though the world has stopped turning since you are not here. When the wheat field is waving and the clouds dance above, your love, it protects me from pain and the grave. So blow on me, darling, rekindle my fire. Let memory take us, the heart's full desire. We'll walk in the valley, the mountains hide bliss. I give you my soul, dear, this eternal kiss. You live deep inside me, like the core of a tree that reaches to heaven and grows tenderly. I'll carry you, darling, for days and for years. Time hasn't the power to dry up these tears. For like a wind over water, the tide in the sea, your spirit still moves me, and the world will start turning when you reappear. The music is better than that.
No, but that's great.
I
Yay.
wrote the music with it.
Yeah.
So this is the other country western song. There was an NPR program about how frogs are reproducing in Texas. And they're getting, you know, they're everywhere, these frogs.
Frogs are reproducing, yeah.
And this is called Post-Coitus at the Texas Roadhouse.
I love it.
And I steal this guy. And it's a kind of dramatic monologue. When Patty's putting on her panties and straightening up the bed, I like to take a dip in the clothes optional pool out back and talk to the toads. They was gonna put them on the endangered species list, but the little fellows are doing just fine now. They sit at the edge of the pool, eyes big and black as the Texas sky, black as Patty's eyes when I come inside her and we clench up together. They don't say much, just sitting there, relaxing, even when I blow a little reefer. The motel don't use chemicals, so the lady toad eggs just float out down the drain and into the stream, natural. We got a lot of toads now. Each of the girls has her own cabin, so it's homey. Patty's got Virgin Mary candles all over the place, Ricky Martin pictures, and a Modigliani reprint. She takes off her silk bra, and sweet brown pears fall for the picking. Then come those pink panties, and I'm at the door of heaven. After I fall back and join the chorus, the night is body temperature, the water green and shiny on my chest, eggs floating out to the Gulf like dandelion on the wind, my seed bursting like shooting stars inside my sweet Patty. Well, who knows?
Great.
That's the kind of country Western approach to bookkeeping.
Let's hear it for the Toads.
I love the story. It was an NPR story.
That's a great story.
So this one, okay. I wrote it in 2000. I was on my way to India with William for the State Department, and I said, I have to keep a journal of this thing. I've never been to India, you know, the whole thing. And so I started it that way, but then it rapidly devolved into this obsessional story. So here's what's on the back. And I haven't really promoted this book much because my friend Betty Lucia, who was really a wonderful pilot, woman pilot, you know, flew planes from Canada over to England during the war and everything. Great woman, really interesting. Anyway, she said there's not enough of William in it. She didn't like it. She didn't like the book. And it really, I thought so much of her. She inspired me to run marathons. I've done 6 of them. She was my running partner, and I met her in Morocco. And so I said, no, it's not bad. It's got some good stuff in it. It deserves to see the light of day. And I'm not getting any younger. Hello, Jude. Take a chair. But as my mother says, they don't all end happily ever after. So this is the back. This tells you what it's about. He stood at the water's edge in his Speedo, staring out at the Black Sea as though a bronze god had lost his way and was waiting for sea chariots to come for him. I'd never seen anything so beautiful. And thought to myself, why go home alone? Why not take this Bulgarian boy home with us? Let us help each other make our way in life and see where this friendship leads us. So began a decade of love and compassion and sexual obsession, which I kept a record of like watching a reality TV show, trying to make sense of our life together. He and I and my invalid lover joined in a love triangle, a kind of new age marriage, years before the current flowering of gay life, and we rode that wave till it crashed on the shore. But in the immortal words of Billie Holiday, comes love, nothing to be done. So, you know, okay, this is called Black Hole, Wormhole, Crisis, a hole. How to get out of this black hole? How can I pick up this story after the event? How to remember it, imagine it, interest you, reader? Until again last night I dream of Ganesh, the elephant-headed god. The god comes to me chubby, smiling, a sort of Walt Disney incarnation that children love in India, like Santa Claus. The god of education and prosperity, sometimes a youth walking arm in arm with a beautiful woman, the sari trailing after. But most often, a little fat guy, someone who would share his Snickers with you, and would just as soon sit on the bench watching than try to play right field. A little Spanky in those Sunday morning reruns of Our Gang. And in the dream I am young too, sitting beside him, our legs folded under us. His thick trunk rolls down over his belly into his lap, covering his private parts. I stick my finger into his belly like a doubting Thomas. He laughs like the Pillsbury doughboy, and I know everything is going to be okay, with the certainty of dream. Like a very old person for whom short-term memory is completely shot, but for whom the events 40 years ago are as fresh as rainwater, I know I'll be able to get back to India and relive that voyage, physical and spiritual, tell of the time I first met Ganesh, sitting forlorn in the deserted courtyard the day after a wedding ceremony in Guwahati over near Burma, huge crows swooping down from the trees to keep him company. I can close my eyes and hear them talk together, gossiping about the guests and the future. Past collapses into present like a Proustian tea party. Is it real? Is it Memorex? The Jain monks in their bird hospital are healing the feathery sick who have crashed into windows, releasing them to illusion from the rooftop of their temple on Sunday morning. William is back, 20 years later, climbing the stairs after his stroke to visit the broken victims. 40 parrots, green and pink, one large peacock, and a platoon of pigeons, all complaining about their illnesses, the way the sick do. The old head nurse takes a mourning dove from her cage. She's having some kind of fit, head convoluted under her wing, spinning round in her cage. He smiles at us, embarrassed for the interruption of this emergency, and takes her upstairs to intensive care. Above the door, toward 2, a painting like a stained glass window instructing the illiterate in a medieval cathedral proclaims mercy. A king sits with his amputated limbs on one side of a scale, balancing a white dove on the other, and the legend reads, "Brave and merciful king, put pieces of his own flesh and finally his own life to balance a pigeon, demigod, in exchange to save him from prey of hawk, demigod. Both demigods bowed, assuming their original divine form, and blessed the king for his attempt to alleviate the pain." India's. William's explanation of this strange sect in India on his last visit. They think that birds and animals like us, some predators, some prey, should be ministered to no less than men and women. We recall the embarrassed fanfare for Francis and his flock. You see some very strange things in India. Where was I? Where am I? I just have a couple more little pieces here. You see, it's a real hodgepodge, this book. I mean, it's real. May 7th, 2001. We finally made it to Key West. Writer friends Bill and Loretta Cobb have come for a long weekend, and after the fireworks at sunset, we all pile into my old Lincoln and set the Land Cruiser heading south. Whenever I see an accident along the road and it's clear someone is injured, however, I feel I have to